And we are live. Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee. And look at these two guys. They're together. So, Joe and Tom, the band is back together. So, tell us why y'all are in the same city.
Well, I'm honored that Joe has chosen to bring his inspirational message to the Cincinnati area, and I was very fortunate that he said, "Let's get together tonight for dinner." So here we are, and we are in the lovely city of Milford, Ohio. We are putting the MILF in Milford. Go right ahead, sir. Carry on.
Yeah, I was doing a presentation here with.
So, what did y'all have?
We had about 60 law enforcement leaders today. Paul Butler did the morning, I did the afternoon, and worked out really well. It is hot in Ohio, though, man. 100 degrees today.
It's Louisiana hot up here, buddy.
Yeah, let me tell y'all, the humidity in this town right now is unbelievable.
Oh no,
It is. It's not even July yet, and it is kicking our ass. I can tell y'all that.
Is that surprising that you live in a swamp and there's humidity?
Yeah.
Yeah, but to me it's a little extra. Maybe I'm just getting old, but it seems a little worse.
I can tell you what, I believe it's bad down there, but this is very unusual for us here, and it's almost unbearable. It is really bad.
So, are y'all drinking anything, or y'all had dinner, or what are y'all doing?
I got a little bit of water, and Tom's got a big old Coca-Cola going. So,
well, I guess I'll be having two finger by myself. So I'm drinking. I'm not big on flavored whiskey, but Tom, you missed it. You missed it last time when I had talked about where I was drinking a bottle of whiskey that my daughter's boyfriend had brought. It was our first time. He had came for the weekend. First time we had met him. He brought us a nice bottle of whiskey, Texas Ranger. It's really, really good. Well, he came back this weekend, and he brought a bottle of pecan praline whiskey. And now it's a dessert, more of a dessert whiskey. I'll tell you, it is really, really good. So I'm gonna finish the bottle off with this drink. So here's to the band being back together, and let's dive into some politics. Man, you could just pick. It's real easy pickings tonight.
Like drinking candy.
But I guess the hottest topic, obviously. Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely. Hey, this could be dangerous. You could drink and forget it. There's alcohol in it. Hey, Tyler, welcome, Tyler. Glad you're joining us. So let's talk about this deal going on in Iran. So we haven't talked, and I don't know what y'all's opinions are, but Tom, let's start with you. Tell us what's your take on everything. Should we have been there? Should we have done it? What reasons did we do it? What's your take?
Well, here's what I would say. I had a feeling we were going to do it, and I'm glad we did, because there are moments in world history that you have to seize opportunities to change the course for everyone in the world. And I believe that taking out Iran's nuclear program was a critical decision that had to be made to eliminate it. And I'm so glad we did it. I will echo my. I love watching Fox News. I love when they say we don't deserve him. I love the fact that President Trump has he seems in this term so different from the first time. He is calm. He is collected. He listens to people. He has surrounded himself with an airtight cabinet who gives him good advice. He mulls things over and he makes decisions, and he's not afraid. He doesn't pass the buck. He stands by what he does, and then he communicates it to the American people. I absolutely love it. Now, the only thing I was going to say in addition to that is my dad was actually Israeli, and he was born there and fought in the 1967 Israeli war. And so I have very strong feelings about that country, even though I'm not a practicing Jew or anything like that, but I do feel very strongly about Israel, and particularly because the area around them has typically been in the business of trying to eliminate them. So I think this is a huge step in developing a Middle East, as President Trump has said, that's going to be it can be a shining example of prosperity and economic boom if they learn to get along with each other. That is what I hope comes out of this. So that's my take.
Joe, what about yours?
Oh, I would echo that. I think that the leadership right now in Iran are a bunch of bullies. They're world bullies, and they surround themselves with degenerate organizations that need them as their umbilical cord, because that's who provides them with all the weaponry and the organization, and then they send them off to do their bidding, and then they claim that they don't have anything to do with it. But it's been since the hostage crisis in the 70s that they've been able to bully the entire world, and at some point you have to stand up to a bully and punch him in the nose. And I think that that's what happened, and that was necessary.
I like what Joe said a lot better than what I said. That was spot on.
Yeah. Well, I got a different take. I've changed my tune in the last couple of days, but I was very against this when it started, and the reason why is it is not our place to go and fight other people's fights. And what we were being told was we were doing this for Israel. Well, I am against doing that. First off, Israel, I'm not a Netanyahu or Yahoo, whatever the fuck his name is. I'm not a fan of his. I don't trust him. I think that I don't trust him one bit. I think that he goes and picks fights knowing that we're going to be there to bail him out. And I was against it. Then, now, when I changed it a little bit was, Trump does do what he said he's going to do. And I just we didn't get a clear picture of what this really was about. Are we going to defend Israel, or was it about nuclear? And then, there were reports of, well, they're trying to kill Trump. Well, hold on. That's a whole different ballgame. I think there should have been more of a clear picture of why we were doing this and what this really was about. Because you can't say it's about, if we think they're trying to kill our president, you bomb you bomb the fuck out of them. You wipe them off of the map. That's a totally different ballgame. That's a totally different thing. So we were getting mixed stories. Well, once but I never criticized him. I didn't like it. I can disagree with what he's doing or what his decisions that he made and still support him. I always support him, and I always said I trust him, not just support him. I trust Donald Trump. So I didn't like it, but it was something in the back of my mind that kept telling me we don't know everything. Well, this thing was planned perfectly. It was implemented perfectly. So now seeing what their intent is, or what his intent is, I am more on board. But, he campaigned against endless wars. The majority of the country are tired of these endless wars and losing our young men and women. But it looked like he knew what he was doing. Just some things that the last couple of days is coming out. This was time to strike them. If we needed to, if we were going to strike them, which we did, this was the time to strike them.
Exactly.
Well, he was playing 4-dimensional chess before, and I think he's moved it to 5 or 6-dimensional chess, and it's all with the distraction at this point. It is the misdirection. It was incredible the way that they actually played everybody off to not know what was going on until after it happened. It was brilliant.
And James,
No, I thought execution was unbelievable. I thought
it truly was perfection. And the fact that there were no leaks, I think, speaks very highly of the cabinet, especially when the news like to poke their finger in Hegseth's eye about that that stuff about the texting and stuff before.
Nobody cares about that. Yeah, he proved he's the guy. And I've been a critic of his somewhat too, and he's the guy. He did a good job.
What I want to do is kind of harken back to something Joe said a few minutes ago when we were talking about Iran back in the 70s. Iran has had the message of death to America since for the last 40 years. Is that me?
No.
Oh, and I was like, didn't recognize that. And they want the destruction of America, and they want the destruction of Israel, because those civilizations to them are inferior to theirs. And I'm talking about the regime of Iran, not the people of Iran. And that regime has done nothing but kill and oppress its people in Iran for the last 30, 40 years. And for the fact that they would be able to develop a device that is able to reach the United States, that in and of itself is fine with it as far as launching that attack. They would do anything they could to blacken our eye and to do the same thing that Al Qaeda did to us, whether it be a nuclear destruction or otherwise. And so to me, there was a question. This isn't fighting Israel's fight. Israel went in and kicked plenty of ass without our help. They didn't ask us to help. They went in there and did an offensive move because they had to preserve their own country. And we took the opportunity during that to protect our country as well as Israel, which is a strong ally of ours. So I don't think there's any question this was needed. And I'll be honest with you, I never heard the whole Trump assassination threat from Iran, which there's no way they could pull that off. I mean, they don't have that capability. They're a joke.
Well, there's been some. Well, you say that, Tom, but we don't know who's in this country.
No.
Well, and you know what? It's thanks to the last administration that.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know who's in this country. We have no idea.
Oh,
how many sleeper cells that we have here.
Yeah. Well, not only is there all these people that pour across the border where there could be sleeper cells, but the last administration turned its back completely on Israel. And it's not that it isn't just because I have family ties to Israel that makes me feel strongly about it. I don't like it whenever you have a situation where, Israel has been a peaceful country. They have never offensively gone after anybody. They've defended their own homeland, which is about 11 miles wide at its widest part, in an area where everybody wants to see them gone. And I just think that it is just morally the right thing to do to protect our allies strongly. We wouldn't hesitate for a second to protect Japan. We seem to be in a posture that we're going to protect Taiwan. We certainly would protect any of our European neighbors. There's absolutely no reason we shouldn't be protecting our strongest and strongest allies. So that's my opinion.
Well, no, I get it.
And I agree with that. And what I'll say, what I'll say with that is that you don't have allies and friends only when it's convenient. And that's what happened under the last administration, is that for some reason, our administration thought that, well, we'll just with them because it's convenient. And when it's not convenient, then we'll just back away from them. That's bullshit. If they're your friends and your allies, they're your friends and your allies. You don't necessarily have to agree with them all the time, but you don't leave them and walk away from them.
Which is exactly what they did. And that's what we did to Afghanistan. Look how embarrassing that was. Now, I will say, the other thing I like about what Trump is doing is he's not trying to topple Iran's regime. Excuse me, even though it probably should be. We're not good at that. We have a bad track record of that. Do what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm not. That's my biggest thing. That's why I was against it. We got to get out of the regime changing business. Look what happened in Iraq.
No, that's up to them to decide who's going to run their country. But I think that they have to do is make a decision on who needs to be the true leader.
Yep.
Because like Tom was saying too, is that this had nothing to do with doing Israel's bidding. This was to protect America.
That's all it matters. If it's legitimately to protect America, then yes, we not only have a right, he had an obligation if it is to protect America. And I get not saying things too much. I don't know if y'all aren't on social media as much as me, but y'all know how I feel about Jasmine crock of shit. This goofy bitch. Did y'all see her get up there and say, this is what she said? I'm ad-libbing a little bit. I'm not quoting, but this is pretty much exactly what she said and how she said it. The mofo in the White House should have hollered at us.
Yeah.
What? First off, who the fuck are you talking to? And what language are you speaking?
Yeah.
And he had absolutely no obligation, even though at the time this happened, I did not agree with it. And, I'm leaning more towards it now that I've learned more.
Yep.
But even though I didn't agree with it, he absolutely had the right. He absolutely had the power. He did not. Can you imagine if he'd have told Jasmine Crockett? She'd have called Iran.
Yep.
No, and today when we saw the, I don't know, it was well over 100 Democrats that sided with his ability to do this, and put those other people to bed, basically. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I'm what happen here if Iran got it, and they're saying that if they got a nuclear weapon, then everyone else in the Middle East would need to have it, and there's countries that can afford to just go out and buy it.
Yeah.
So we took the bully off of his off the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't. You got to remember too. They signed a treaty that they wouldn't have them. So there's that.
Yep, there is that. Yeah, they cannot be trusted at their word, that particular regime. That's right. But no, I think it's a great day in America, and I'm glad to see, like Joe just mentioned, I'm glad to see that there are people that are using, good sense and saying that this was the right thing to do and the right time to do it. On both sides of the aisle, that's very important for this country, because we've gotten to a point where the ridiculousness when I hear the stuff that comes out of Jasmine Crockett mouth or AOC or all these different people, it just, I see a guy like John Fetterman and I'm like, I would vote for him if he was in my area. I would vote for him in a heartbeat.
I would, man, because he's not. I like that. I mean, the dude's wacky, but man, I like the dude.
He tells it like it is.
Yeah.
And I give him any more time because let's talk about the operation. What a brilliant freaking operation! And they're talking. They probably got to drop 2 on each one of those holes and stuff, and they drop what 12.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? We're just going to make sure.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to have to second guess whether or not we got enough. So let's just have a little redundancy. We'll hit each hole with 4 times what's necessary.
That's right. I'm a little surprised they didn't call it Operation Top Gun Maverick, because it looked just like that movie. It's a razor.
Yeah.
That was, and like Joe said, it was executed so beautifully. And the thing here, these guys took off from the base in Missouri. They were in the air for 36 hours. You know what I mean? They had all the
radio silence, and then they send some off toward Guam.
Yeah, that's
yeah, we got them heading toward Guam, and everybody's like, "Wait, what? They're going west? What?"
Yeah.
That was
No, I thought, and that's the thing, that's what started. Once I started studying how the operation went. Oh, my dog! Shut up, Bella.
No, it's
so one
Tomahawk cruise missiles 4 hours before.
Yeah.
Bombs hit, and timing was amazing.
It was. It truly was.
And then the bombs all hit within probably feet of each other.
Yep.
When you pull something off that flawlessly, it really, people like me who were skeptical of it, it makes us start turning towards you, because like, hey, they didn't just do this on a whim.
No. They were playing this for months.
Yeah, and bigger than that, Tom, is the fact of the timing. I'm a big believer, and everybody I'm sure is, and timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Iran is weak. They're a weaker nation than they've ever been. Israel just hit them, so this was the time. To me, it was about motive. What are we doing this for? If it's about protecting our country, bomb the fuck out of them. But I'm tired of us being. We're not regime change. We should be done with that, and we're not the world police.
Yeah,
so
I never really thought at all during this entire process that it was anything besides that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I did, and I was, like I said, I was skeptical of it. I'm better now, seeing how much.
I'm glad you're getting well.
Yeah, I'm glad. Jimmy, I'm particularly glad you have friends like us that can show you the right way.
We'll set you straight when necessary.
Yeah, we care about you. That's what we're here for, buddy.
I'm sure Trump really gave a fuck about what I thought, but I'll say this: I never didn't support him, and that's, I guess, the biggest part of it. And my wife and I were talking about it, and she brought up a good point. She said, I feel okay about it because I know he's not leading us into a forever war.
Right.
There's an exit. We've gotten to so many of these wars and didn't have an exit.
Right.
They went in, did the damage and got out. He was the man. That's why I trust him, and that's why I do support him. He is 10 steps ahead every single time.
Yes.
But it was funny what Iran did to retaliate against us. Send up 14 missiles that were like batted out of the air like mosquitoes, and one of them that went sideways and landed nowhere. But that tells you what they got left.
Let's do a little stat game here. President Trump has initiated one operation where he dropped 12 or 14 bombs. How many bombs do you think Obama dropped during his presidency?
Oh, he bombed Obama. I'm glad you brought that up, Tom. Obama, that guy bombed the fuck out of everybody, and I didn't hear all these Democrats say anything then.
Yep.
Over 26,000.
Yeah.
26,000 pieces of ordnance dropped in 7 different countries. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
That's when the rest of the Democrats told the other ones, "Shut up.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. You don't know anything about history. Yeah. You don't know jack shit. So shut up."
Yeah, that's one of the problems. Right. Their mouths, and all of a sudden they forget there are facts out there that are going to come to light, and it makes them look stupid.
Yeah. Well, they failed history class in high school too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So getting off of Iran a little bit. So before this happened, the big talk was the Minnesota senator or the Speaker of the House that was killed, her husband. What a tragedy. You don't hear shit about that.
God, I haven't heard that they were critical. Did they survive?
So as far as we know, they're not saying anything. The media's not covering it at all.
Yeah.
Now, not that you can put any trust in what this killer has said, but he supposedly, I'm sure y'all heard this, he wrote a letter to the FBI.
Yep.
That Tim Walz, and y'all know how much I love Tim Walz. Tim Walz asked him to kill Amy Klobuchar so he could be the senator. Now, that's pretty far-fetched, but Walz does want to be the Senate. He would have if one of the senators right now, because you know if one of the senators died or resigned or whatever right now, the governor appoints the senator.
Yep.
Walz would be the guy. Everybody thought DeSantis was going to do it. Walz would be the guy to appoint himself.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Were you having dinner with him tonight? I know I was having dinner with Tom, but were you having dinner with him?
With Walz?
Yeah. Could you just ask him, or?
I'd love to have dinner with Walz. And I'd want well, no, he's not a candidate anymore. I could say this. I'd want to make sure we eat steaks. So I'd have a steak knife handy.
Well, he's a pretty good hunter. He could probably get you some venison.
Yeah, he works on cars. You know, he is a man's man. He is the devil. I need to have him on Man's Man Monday, Tommy.
There it is.
I tell you what, I'm not going to lie. When I first heard this story break, I thought, oh, dear, I knew that the people that were being targeted were Democrats. So I was like, oh, dear God, please don't let this be some rogue Republican. And then when I found out he was in Walz's camp, I was like, thank God. I mean, I hate what happened to these people. I'm not for 1 second, it has nothing to do with that. But it was a relief to know that once again, somebody that went crazy and did something completely off the deep end was associated with the liberal side of things.
But doesn't the shooter's wife work for him too or something?
I don't know, but his big thing was
no kings.
Yes, but this guy was from what I mean, there's been so little reported, but from what I gather, he was upset. They were the only 2 Democrats that voted against the bill to have illegals having free health care.
Yeah. Well, and the woman that was shot and killed, they showed a clip of her speaking to the media in a press conference, and she's like, it killed me to vote that way. She goes, but that's what I had to do to get this bill in our legislature passed. And sometimes you have to make compromises and vote for things you don't want to do for the greater good. And she goes, I'm sick over it, but I did my job, and that's what you have to do. I was elected here to do my job. So again, she's like another Fetterman. She's someone who's willing to do what's right as opposed to doing the line. It's a shame she had to pay with her life.
Then they fucking kill her, Tommy.
I know.
Did you see? You saw her speak. You saw how scared. You could tell how scared she was when she spoke.
You know?
That was absolutely terrible.
And to bring it full circle, that's the kind of stuff that Iran would do. And we can't have that in this country. And that's why we have to set examples like the president did with this. And not only with the operation, some of the communication that he put out after that, that's what needs to be said. Joe and I were talking over dinner about leadership and about people. And it's just amazing, whether it's in the police world or his in my current careers, how there's such a lack of leadership and fear in people who are in supervisory positions in general, that it's such a shame that people don't, act on the impulse to do the right thing, as opposed to being so afraid either of a boss or of the job or whatever else. That's what gets us in these jams, is that people just don't have the chutzpah to say, well, this is what we're going to do because it's the right thing to do.
Well, and we allow it to build on itself, because, if you remember back when Elon was saying some of the stuff when he was there, about some of the stuff that they were finding out, and he really life was in jeopardy.
I believe it was.
From the information that he was finding and his team was finding, is that people were threatening to kill him.
So did him and Trump make up yet?
Yeah, because he came out supporting all of the stuff that was going on this last week.
Oh, he did. Okay, I didn't see that.
It was interesting to me to see some of the posts that he put out after all that kind of died down, and about, well, I shouldn't have said this, and that was wrong, and this was inaccurate what I said, and I'm like, dude, you don't, I would have, it really disappointed me because I was so impressed with the way he handled the whole Doge thing, and of course he's a brilliant scientist of all the different things he's brought to our world, but I thought, wow, here's a guy who, he certainly doesn't understand in some ways, he doesn't understand what a stage he was on, and how, you can't just go blowing off like that.
Yeah, but he's a emotional guy too.
He is.
He's reacting, not responding appropriately.
Right.
No, I agree. I agree with that. So what else? Joe, how long are you in Cincinnati?
I'm driving up to Columbus tomorrow, do some work up there, and then flying home on Thursday morning.
Well, I'm glad y'all were able to get together, and I'm glad we were able to get on for a little bit. It's been a little while. And how's the railroad, Tommy? Everything's going good on the railroad?
Busy. Yeah, that was a good one. Had a good run today. I was extremely fortunate that I drew the locomotive with air conditioning today, so thank God for that.
Oh, it's yeah. So we
got to host an event at Chateau McGee.
Yeah,
where
I'm ready.
Do this poolside or something.
That's right. We'll break out.
I'm ready. I'm ready when y'all are. Y'all ain't said shit. Actually, my wife, her three of her classmates, y'all met them. I think y'all met them at the conference.
Yep.
From Alaska, Washington State, and Mississippi. Which the one from Mississippi is only 4 hours away from us, but they're coming in 4th of July. They're all coming. So we're having to get together. I can say it now because it's official, but my wife is being promoted July 1st to major.
Wow! Congratulations!
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yep. So she's being promoted, and they're coming in. We're going to celebrate 4th of July, and celebrate her on that day, and it's going to be a good time. But I would love to do something and put something together, and I might. I hadn't decided yet, but I might, Tommy. I might end up coming that way in September.
Oh man, I'd love to have you.
Hey,
yep.
I posted on the site about the Michigan conference. You got to take a look at that, because that is an amazing location.
With which one?
The Grand Hotel.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I got to click on that and read more of that information.
There's no motorized vehicles on that island.
I've been
it's like
there
going
before.
back to the 1940s and 50s.
Have you been there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. I couldn't agree more with Joe. It's a fantastic place. You got to see it.
Well, I may come in September and crash Kiefer's wedding.
Oh wow! Well, now it's out there in public. Now he knows. Well, you don't you be making no hotel reservations. You stay with us.
Well, I'm gonna make the decision really soon, and I'm gonna call him this week and tell him I might crash it.
All right, bet.
I'd love to come and see her because we got you've got Pappas and Dan, and you're up there, and then Rich. I'd love to be able to go see Rich's dad, and
Yep.
so it'd be a good time. So
Would. You just know when it's going to be, and we'll get the red carpet laid out.
well, I'll definitely let y'all know. But I'm glad we were able to get together, and we're gonna y'all be careful. Y'all don't drink too much water and soda. Y'all are doing it up tonight. So
Keep drinking your candy.
Yeah.
yep. Well, I appreciate everybody joining us, and so until next Tuesday, McGee, Collins, and Wells are out.
See you later.